Mormon! I'm gonna stop starting my videos like this. I just saw a show called Lovecraft. I can't even fucking say it. Lovecraft Country. I did it. And it only has one episode out right now because weekly programming is bullshit and I hate you, HBO. Fuck. But I liked it so much I figured I'd make a video about it. I should add a disclaimer, I know nothing about Lovecraftian stuff and I know nothing about this novel based on Lovecraftian stuff. I only know that, like, there was a novel in 2016 called Lovecraft Country. I said it right this time! Again, the show is based on that. It's a great show. It's one of the best fucking shows I've seen in a long time, actually. What the hell have I seen? Game of Thrones, Westworld Season 3, that one Sabrina show, I guess that was kind of recent. I stopped watching that like a year ago. Marvel shows are all canceled, but I saw those a while back. The fuck, I watched something else and I forgot. Oh, Watchmen. The Watchmen show, I'm not a fan of that at all. I watched Kingdom, that's a Korean show, that was great. This, I feel, was better already, and this is only one episode. I'm probably gonna, like, butcher details and everything because I'm great with those. If you've seen any other videos of mine, I'm great at everything I do. I'll try not to sum things up too much because this is just gonna be a video about me failing at English and gushing about this show. But it starts with the main character, I think Atticus Freeman is his name. I'm just looking at a list of names. I'm terrible with names. I'm pretty sure that's the main character. He's having a dream. He's a war veteran. I think he's in the Korean War, and he's like coming home. And he's having this like Lovecraftian kind of dream. It starts out where he's fighting people in a trench, and then he gets out of the trench and sees like UFOs, tripods, Cthulhu-looking alien dudes, and then this alien lady beams down from a UFO. And then like she tells him to turn around and there's some famous baseball player. I don't know who it is. He smacks the shit out of one of the Cthulhu aliens, and then it like regenerates, and then he smacks it just as Atticus was waking up. And then, well, you find out he's come home because he wants to find out like where his father's gone, because his father sent him some note about their birthright and heritage. They're in some mysterious county, like a town area. Get where? I think Alabama or something. They're in Chicago and they have to go all the way down there, somewhere in the South. And this is Korean War times, so it's not very good for black people, which the main cast is, and that comes up later because Atticus goes to his uncle, who is going on some kind of trip. I have really bad hearing. I didn't want to keep rewinding, so I couldn't really tell what kind of trip he was going on. Some kind of guiding trip or something. I don't know, his uncle promises to take his wife on one later. It's I don't know if it's like a sales thing or what. It has something to do with work, but he went on one previously and like racists bashed his knee in and stuff. Racism is a big part of this show. As a matter of fact, it's like one of the horrors that the main characters encounter. Because they encounter monsters and they encounter racism, which is pretty monstrous, and it gets pretty nasty already. This is just one episode out. I'll get to that. And then also, there is a woman called Letitia Lewis, I think? Yes, Letty Lewis, they call her. She's also in town because she's kind of a woman down on her luck, out of money. You get the impression she tends to get help and then kind of fall flat again. Like me! And she ends up going on this trip with Atticus and their uncle. And the uncle's name is George Freeman. I should remember that because it reminds me of Gordon Freeman, and then I think they have a brother in that Half-Life Full Life Consequences bullshit. I don't remember what that guy's name was though. Now I'm more centered. And I fucked up my sick gray look. Hire me for this show, I'll be Gray Man.
I'm Greymon now.
That's kind of Cthulhu-like, right? I literally picked this because I knew it would look like shit and be weird for this kind of thing. Anyway, so they're on this trip to try and find this weird town. I think it's called Arkham County, I believe. They think it's Arkham at first, but there's a scholar dude that like Atticus goes to see, and I think he's like a librarian. It's hard to tell. The library kind of looked like a auto shop. Anyway, they find out it's Artem County. They're on the way. They're on this long ass road trip from Chicago to find it. They run into this one diner. They go there for lunch, and the uncle George is insisting on eating there, even though they can go to a safer one. I think like 2 or 3 hours away. I think it's where Letty's brother is, or another diner. I didn't quite catch that. Because they end up going to Letty's brother's house on the way, because he's on the way to this area, and the uncle's kind of added this search as like a stop to his guide trip to help them out. But they go to this diner, and there's a white guy there eating, and a young white waiter, and the white guy is like a middle-aged businessman, kind of overweight looking dude. And he leaves, and then the kid goes to, they ask him for coffee and then a menu. He goes into the back. Letty gets up to go to the bathroom. She overhears him on the phone calling somebody, and I forget what she hears. There's something sinister. The kid is calling for backup, basically. And while she's in there, George and Atticus are sitting at the table still, and Atticus asks George why the White House, he wanted to be reminded of why the White House was painted white, and it's because I believe the French tried to burn down the executive branch of the government, which was the White House, and then slaves had to like rebuild it or something and paint it white to kind of cover that. And as George is telling Atticus this, he moves a tile on the floor to reveal burnt flooring underneath it, and the wall behind George is all white. And I believe I kind of missed this too, because for some fucking reason in my system it's so hard to hear things. I have to turn the sound up, but then everything else will blow my eardrums out. But dialogue, I should just fucking put closed caption on. Swallow my pride and do it. But I think the implication was the diner had been burned by black people before, who were probably protesting this super racist white neighborhood. Now here's where the horror part comes in, involving racism. Letty hears the phone call, and she just comes running out of the back. She says, "We gotta get the fuck out of here now." And George, who was super insistent on eating there, kind of picked up on it, and then with her and with Atticus finding out, the place had probably been burned down by someone before, and nobody was too friendly to them on the way into the town or to this diner. So they get out, they're driving off, and some truck starts chasing them, and the cops, I think, and in this black truck that's chasing them, I think it was just a black truck. I'm good with details, like I said I was. Shut up. There's a man shooting at them with a fucking rifle, and another guy in the passenger seat using some kind of handgun. They're flying off to get away from them, and they see a silver car kind of coming at a road, sort of forming a triangular point with them. They think the silver car is after them too, but it kind of like, once the roads meet, it kind of worms its way behind them, in between them and the pursuing truck, and then it like kind of cuts the truck off a bit, stops it from lining up another shot, and then it just suddenly turns sideways to go perpendicular, and then the truck seems to hit some kind of invisible force field or something and just gets fucked and just flips over and lands upside down on the road. I'm pretty sure everyone was dead. And then a lady gets out, looks at our main characters, and Atticus is like, "Just get the fuck out of here, go." Because no, they don't know what they just saw. They just got chased down, almost gunned down, just for going to a diner. And then later on, they're in another town closer to this Artem, which is in like Devon County. The county was Devon, something like that. And they're in like a wooded area on a road, and they're looking around for this. They don't know where the hell to go, because there's no apparent road to Devon, but they're in what's called a sundown town. And that is, well, I knew about racism, but I didn't really know about sundown towns, which basically back then, if black people were in the town by sundown, they get hung or something, like they get attacked, most likely killed. There's even a sign on the way in that had like a slur on it, and it said, the sun better not be on your backs by nighttime or else. But they were really looking for this town, and they get out to pull over because they can't find the road to Devon or whatever. Or Artem. Devon's the county. Fuck. They can't find the road to Artem, and a cop pulls up, and he tells them this isn't just a sundown town, because they made it through the sundown town at this point, actually, where they should have been safe, but the sheriff tells them, no, you're in a sundown county, you have to get the fuck out of here, and sunset is at 7:09 tonight, and you've got 7 minutes if you go south, and you're not gonna make that. And he makes Atticus is the driver at this point. He says, what if we go north? He makes him like say some racist shit. He makes Atticus say some racist shit and beg to leave because he would have had to make a U-turn to go north. He would have had to speed to go south, and the cop was gonna pull him over in either case. So he begged to let him do the U-turn. He did it. And the cop follows them the whole fucking way out of the county as the sun is going down and they're kind of racing against the clock. But they have to go the speed limit. So this is actually a very nicely set up tense situation and a very real world situation. No monsters or anything other than this fucking sheriff trying to kill them. It's very clear he wants to do that. He pointed a shotgun at him when he first came up to him on the road. So they're making their way to some railroad tracks, which signify the end of the county. They make it, well, he's like bumping, he's rear-ending their car. They make it just in time, and as they're relieved that they narrowly made this, they see the road ahead is blocked with more cops. Now these cops, the sheriff kind of, I think, regroups with them. They all have their shotguns out. They pull them over. They lead them into the forest. Now this is where things get really kind of Lovecraftian, eldritch horror. I think I used that right. They're let out into the forest at night. The cops make them get on the ground, and they're trying to basically pin a robbery on them from like a day before and then a week before that. Because they're like, you're down here and you're from Chicago, long way from home. Which, yeah, they're gonna come all the way from Chicago to rob things. Whatever. Like, they're clearly there on a road trip, but these guys didn't give a fuck. They were all white too, like, it's just more racist cops. The whole trip, like, they're just dealing with stares at sheriff, the one truck trying to kill them, and then these racist cops finally get them, and they're leading them into the forest. They're probably gonna execute them. They're questioning them about why they're there. They're questioning them about the robberies. And then all of a sudden they start hearing some roars. Now, earlier in the show, there was talk of like mythological creatures and shit in the woods in this area. And there was also, probably should have mentioned this sooner, but I forgot! The county, like, I guess was founded by witch hunters. They had killed a woman who they claimed had fornicated with the devil. So it was an area already founded by bigots, and there was just all this talk of like mythical shit in the woods, like monsters.